Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys my thoughts on the open beta and what we can expect to see going forward into the full release of New World. Now there's a couple of things that I want to clear up straight away at the start of this video that I know a lot of you guys are going to be asking about, and one of those things obviously is if there's going to be any more delays, and I'm happy to confirm that at the time of recording this, literally 5 minutes ago, New World has tweeted out this tweet which you guys will be seeing on screen now, and the tweet here says that the gates of open beta are closed, but we now look towards the new set of open doors. Official launch for Play New World. A turn will be waiting for you on September 28th, with a picture which is very cool there from one of the zones in New World. So that's basically as close as you're going to get to official confirmation. We have the go ahead for September 28th in terms of a release date. So I know a lot of people have been speculating whether that's going to be changed or not because of some of the bugs we saw in the open beta, and I'll get onto that in a moment. But just to clear that up officially, from what we're seeing right now, official word is we're still going to get September 28th to be the release date, which is amazing news. Now, I know another thing that a lot of you guys are going to want me to touch on here is the PvP scaling, and again, we've had official word that this has actually been looked at, and in the final build it is way different to what we saw in the open beta. So for any of you guys that are slightly concerned about the way that PvP is advancing, you didn't like the changes, not to worry, they've heard that, they already had it changed, they were just testing at one extreme compared to the other extreme which we had in closed beta, and trying to find a happy medium of which people preferred, that kind of thing. So as far as I'm aware, we're not going to see the same scaling that we saw in the open beta here. For whatever reason, if we do get something similar to that, I'm sure they are working on that to try and turn that around before launch now, to kind of tone it down a bit and get back to where we kind of were, because it was kind of okay, just we need a little bit more emphasis on those level 60 players being level 60s, right? So when they get up there, it means something. They're not going to get killed by everybody, but this one was way too much. It was as soon as you were a couple of levels above, you were dominating everybody else that was a couple of levels below and anything else. So hopefully there's a happy medium that we can find there and the devs get that sorted for launch. But as far as I'm aware, they've worked on that. They've got something in the final build that is in between, and they seem to be fairly happy on that. So that's good news as well. So overall, the New World open beta, well, I think it was a very fun experience for me and my company. We had a blast of a time. We managed to capture Brightwood Settlement. We were doing a lot of PvE and PvP questing around that area. We also did a ton of the content in terms of expeditions, the first two at least, because obviously we didn't have too much time to level up, but we did Amarine Temple and Starstone Barrows. Both of them were a lot of fun, especially with the upgraded mobs, if you like, so the extra HP, the extra damage. Found that to work really well, as it made these a little bit more challenging, but also not like too over the top. It was still doable, and if you organise your group well, you could clear it without dying, except from maybe Starstone where you get to the lasers. That's a whole other matter, but especially Amarine, you can go through that just as normal, and it's still a really fun experience, even with the upgrade to the damage and the health. So that's a really good addition. I also really enjoyed doing the elite zones in terms of PvE content. They were a lot of fun, and again, the mobs there have been buffed, so that worked really well again if you had a good group with you, and the bosses there were really cool as well. So obviously we saw an increase to health. I think some of them still need an increase to damage, because there were some of them that were just a little bit tanky, particularly in the Monarch's Bluff one. We had this one pirate guy that was very tanky but did literally no damage, so it was very strange, but hopefully, you know, we can just see some final tuning towards that. But I think that's in a really good place with all of the AI at the moment, and they seem to be working well. All of the lasers were visible in Starstone Barrows, which is one of the things from the beta that they changed. That works really well. None of the AI was getting stuck in any of the expeditions either, which is a fantastic thing. So it was all very smooth-lined and fine-tuned. Now, a lot of you guys have been experiencing problems with things like dodge roll glitching, where you had to open the inventory and equip a fishing pole and stuff. Other things kind of like the sound glitches and stuff where it would disappear for a little bit and then come back in. Now, some of these things have already been addressed on Twitter and in kind of the forum posts that they are addressing them, but also for final build, if you've watched any of Damone Kim's videos, if not, he's a really cool New World content creator, and he made a video basically explaining his thoughts on this, and he said that he thinks we're playing a previous build, so an old version of the game, and I have to agree with that, because some of the bugs we saw there we didn't see in closed beta. So I'm gonna agree with that we probably are playing an older build, not the final build of the game, because obviously they're going to keep some stuff back as well. Like a lot of you may have seen during your gameplay there were certain bosses that were appearing on the map, but there wasn't a way into each of those boss arenas. Sometimes you couldn't get in to fight them, so there is obviously some content still there that we haven't got yet that's going to be in main release, which is also really exciting, because it does mean we don't know everything about the game yet, which is always nice. But yeah, I do think we were playing on kind of like a previous version or previous build of the game, just to test out obviously the stability of the servers, stress test how many players players they could get on and how much lag it was going to cause and that kind of thing, and also kind of how smoothline it would be in PvP environments. Now, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play in a 50v50 war. We did try to get a one in, but by the time we'd captured Breakwood and somebody had declared points on us by taking a day to then, fill the bar up to get enough, it didn't actually happen in time. It was due to be this evening, so obviously we're not going to get that. But from what I could tell, what people were saying, it was a ton better than the closed beta, which is really, really nice, because that does fill us with a lot of confidence going forward that they have fine-tuned and optimized the servers to actually run this and, be capable of running a 50v50 war in a streamlined thing, obviously providing your PC's good enough and things like that, which is really nice, because that is one of the main things that was kind of like really good content, but it was lagging a bit. So if that's been sorted, that is fantastic. So let me know if you've done any of those wars, what your experiences were like in the comments down below, because I'd be really interested to know that. Now, I've played a lot of the PvP side of things. We did a lot of dueling. They've introduced group dueling as well, which is really cool. Although this didn't work perfectly every time, once we worked out a way to do it, we found that the best way to do it was set up the groups, have them both either flagged or unflagged, whichever, but both groups the same, and then stand in close proximity to one another, and you should almost every time be able to get into a 5v5 environment. And that was really, really cool. We managed to do some really cool 5v5 duels, some 1v1 duels. Obviously they were really cool again. So again, I've been working out kind of which weapons were really good for PvE and PvP, and that video will be coming to you guys in the next few days, so keep an eye out for that one. But I think overall the PvP side of things seems to be good, other than the scaling, which again we've addressed before, and they're going to be tuning that up. Other than that, when you're fighting people a similar level, it was really actually quite fun and engaging, and the combat felt impactful again. So I'm happy with how that's going, and I think we're going in the right direction there. Now, another thing that people were kind of wondering about during the beta is the settlements, how quick people are going to take them, how fast the map's going to be dominated by one particular faction. And I do think that is something to bear in mind, because obviously in the server we played on, we were the only above 10 member Covenant company, so there was huge amounts of competition. There was lots of 50 plus Syndicate companies and a couple of 50 plus Marauder companies, so even the Marauders were underleveled, and they still had about 500-ish active players, whereas Syndicate were looking at maybe 2,000-ish players overall, and I think their top companies, there was about 400 of them. Marauders, they had about 200 plus-ish, and we had about 70 that were just in our company, so that was literally it. So obviously the distribution is something that's hard to get right, because if they lock people in, you might not be able to join up with your company or with your friends, so it's kind of a hard way to balance it. But hopefully there's something there that just stops everybody going into one faction, because obviously it limits yourself, because you can't then PvP if you are dramatically outnumbered, but also then if your allies or your other faction members are taking a city, you can't battle them for getting it back if you wanted that one. So again, maybe there's something we'll see going forward with that. I know they've talked about server mergers, but let me know what your guys' experiences were with that in the open beta. We got a settlement pretty quickly. My company got one in the first day, so we were able to get that with only 40 members in for the first day as well, because obviously work and things like that for people, right? So that was actually pretty quick. Some managed to get it in literally the first few hours, so I think it is going to be a vicious battle at the start to get those settlements down. But obviously you've got the wars that you can come straight in within the first couple of days, first week, and try and take those back, so it's not going to matter all too much. It is just going to give those that can raise the funds quickly a little bit of a boost, which I think isn't a bad thing at all. I think the changes that they have done to the town boards in terms of reducing the XP is actually working pretty well. It's meaning that people can't just power level by doing these sort of like one-off town mission quests, but they still give enough XP that people are wanting to do them to level up the settlement upgrades, which is a really, really good thing, because that is one thing I was worried about when they did reduce it, is seeing whether people would actually still participate to upgrade your settlements, which they have been doing, so that's fantastic. And also they do still give a moderate amount of XP, a good proportionate amount, I would say, to be able to still level you up a decent amount by completing these, which is a really good thing, because it means they're still worthwhile doing, particularly if there's some materials you've already got in your bank, or it's something easy to collect, because it's just going to be basically free XP at that point. But on top of that, it also means that you're not able to just power level and bypass all of the other content by just doing those quests. One thing I would like to see from town board quests a little bit more is a little increase to the amount of gold you get from them, because I think that would be a nice way to incentivize them without adding too much progression, because there's not a whole lot of ways to get a lot of gold other than through trading, so, and obviously the main story and stuff. But to get a little bit extra, maybe even 10, 12 gold instead of 2 or 3 per would actually be really cool. So maybe that's something we could see in the future developed there, because I think that'd be a really nice one. Or maybe once per day or twice per day or something like that, you would get a gold section of quests which give you maybe 20 gold per one. Something along those lines would be really cool to see in the settlements as well, just to encourage people to help out even further, even if it's it's not their own settlement. But I did enjoy the progression rates that we saw in the open beta, particularly with the focus on the main story and the side quests, and obviously then supplementing that with faction missions to obviously get the standing up, the reputation points, the tokens, and of course then your XP in there as well. It worked really, really well, and it was actually a ton of fun. Encouraged a lot of group content. I've played a lot of content with people from other factions just as I was going through, and that was a real big amount of fun for me, and I think that's something that really captures the MMO experience. So I think personally I really enjoyed that, so let me know what you guys thought to it, but I think that worked really, really well, so I was happy to see those changes there. So going forward, what do I think we'll see? I think we'll see obviously all of the balance changes that they've talked about and the bug fixes they've talked about coming into implementation for that final build. I think we are definitely going to see a release on September 28th. I've got no doubt in my mind after seeing the tweet from the official account confirming that we are going to see a September 28th release, which is really, really good, because by this point beta testing's been fun, but I'm tired of doing it. I really want to get into the game, play for stuff that's going to stick around after the first week or few days even, so actually when I get to 60 or get to whatever level and get the gear, it counts. So that's really good. I'm glad that we're hopefully, and 99.99999% sure, we're going to be getting that full release on September 28th, which is crucial for the game's success. Obviously, hopefully we see the bug fixes. I think most of those, like I said, will actually be done for the final build. We're probably playing an older build there just to stress test. And obviously the server capacity and lag issues seem to be majority fixed, or at least on the EU servers. We saw a decent amount of fixes, and we were the only servers to have maintenance as well, but I didn't notice too many problems personally, and a lot of my company members said that they hadn't either, so it's looking really, really good. We're in a really good place with it. Lots of content, as I said there, that should be coming at launch that we haven't necessarily seen yet, like some of those open world bosses. That's something to get our teeth into as well, which is really cool, and I'm sure they've got lots up their sleeve for just after launch as well, so we'll have to stay tuned to their social media channels for that. As always, I will be bringing you guys updates as soon as there is anything released officially by New World and Amazon Game Studios. I'll bring you guys the latest news as and when, and I will be uploading every single day until release, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. If you've enjoyed today's video, drop a like on the video as it really does help me out. If you are new here and you want to see more New World content, like I said there, we're uploading every day until release and afterwards, so make sure you subscribe to the channel with notification bells on there so you don't miss out on any of those uploads. And if you would like to join the Discord community, then there's a link for that in the comments and the description down below. We're going to be recruiting for the full launch through there. We've got a couple of slots opened up, people rotated out, testing out ping, that kind of thing, so we're going to be recruiting a few more people. So if you do want to get involved and have the opportunity to join, head over to the Discord, join us there. We'd love to have you in the community either way. And other than that, if you would like to become a channel member, then there's always that option down below as well. It's much appreciated. You can just click on the join button. It'll tell you what options we have available for you there. Other than that, as always guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care and peace.